I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Quirky Shank.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. Just
finger guns.
Finger guns. They can't see the finger guns, so you got to say
it. Yeah. Why do I keep doing this audio medium when I keep wanting to describe everything that is happening in my life visually?
Yeah, the listeners don't get to see, but Rachel chestates all over the place while doing the intros.
I do a whole dance. Yeah. It's great.
It gets the blood flowing, gets things ready to go. It's important.
It puts the words in the right place.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an art form. Podcasting.
Art. Anyway, enough about that nonsense. I want to introduce our incredible guest, the one and only clyclone MC. I almost had it on the first shot. Sly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I know it's a tongue twister. Shout out to 8-year-old me coming up with my first screen name for the first time. We love to see it.
We do love to see it. We're so excited to have you here. You are one of the founders of Point of Progress. You work on MC University. You work on After Party Show and a bunch of other stuff. We're going to talk about all of that in a little bit, but as always, we will start by doing the thing we always do, which is talking about what we've most recently watched. And I will, as always, continue to go first. And the thing I brought, probably surprising literally nobody, is, of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
What's a danger?
Incredible.
I will say right now that, of course, I'm going to be very light on the narrative stuff, other than what we've seen in the trailers and what we know of from the previous film. Likely we may spoil Into the Spider-Verse, just talking about like narrative a little bit, but I don't want to get too in-depth because not only is it had just come, by the time you hear this, by the time we're recording, it's been out for a few weeks, but as of when we're recording, it's only been out a few days. But also on top of that, I think this is one of those films that really needs to be experienced. I said that a lot about the first one as well. I think that what Lord and Miller are doing with this franchise is really interesting. I think it's also interesting because, Marvel often for the outside the MCU projects, they're very strict about like you can't do specific comic book arcs. But like they're still dipping in and out of Spider-Verse from the comics, but making it its own thing and doing some interesting things with Miles Morales, which are similar to the comics, but not exactly the same, making it its own thing. The first thing I need to shout out about this film is the animation is some of the best animation I've seen on film literally ever.
Oh my gosh. There's one sequence where I was just like, oh, am I at like the Met in like a special gallery of like animation? Because it's just like going so fast and blowing my mind.
Yeah, like in the first film, different characters have different animation styles, and like folks know, of course, because it's been all over the marketing that Spider-Punk is in this. But the interesting about Spider-Punk is his animation is all like newspaper clipping style animation, like old punk posters, literally all of it. And so like anything having to do with him is this almost physical prop animation, as if it were like stop motion on top of the anime. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, they're just like, hi, can we do all the art styles? All of them. And they're like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah, do it. I dare you. I dare you.
Without giving too much away, also, I do like that this movie starts differently from... I don't think it's a huge spoiler to say that we get to focus more on Gwen in this film, which is you've seen a lot in the trailers as well. We kind of get to... Even though we heard Gwen's backstory in the first film, we really get to see a lot of it, which is really neat. I'm already a big fan of... what is her name? Haley Steinfeld. I've loved her and all the other stuff that she's done, especially as in Hawkeye and all of that. But like, I think this is one of the best characters I've seen her play. I really like the depth of the character and the dynamics. I really like the entire cast, of the first film, and a few of them reprise their roles in this film, and then some others we don't see really in this film from the original cast. We do get a ton of new people as well, including Jason Schwartzman playing another obnoxious kind of bumbling villain, but the arc that the Spot, who is an actual villain in Spider-Man comics, a guy who can make spots and like multi-dimensional holes. It's the dumbest thing. But the fact that they took this character that's kind of a goof in the comics and did something interesting with him is also great. Because, you know, when you cast Jason Schwartzman, he could just be playing a goofball the whole time, or he could play someone with an arc, and he's very good at that, a la Scott Pilgrim and a lot of other stuff. And so it's interesting to see what they do with him in this. All of the characters, I mean, we know that even like Spider-Man 2099, played by Oscar Isaacs, like we knew that that character is more of a brooding and serious character, and so we knew we were going to get a more brooding and serious performance from him. But what he does with the character, I think, it still goes above and beyond what I even expected, which is, I think I can safely say, for most of the performances in this film. I think the performances were really good in the first film. They just are next level in this film, all of them, including, of course, Shamik Moore as Miles Morales. I think that it's really cool to get to see these characters grow and have this arc that, while still kind of also pushing in the face of like old school Spider-Man fans and throwing some stuff kind of back at old school comic book fans through the narrative. It's really interesting. I don't want to go too into detail because I don't want to spoil anything, but like just the and also all the characters. Like, I mean, when we get to where all the spiders people are gathered, we get to see a ton.
Spiders folk. I would like
folk.
to
Spider
posit.
folk?
I like spiders folks. I
like
that.
attorneys general,
Like
but
attorneys
like
general,
spiders folk.
And like what's really fun is like there's so many that like even like if you paused the film and looked frame by frame, you couldn't probably even see all of them. I didn't notice it my first watch. I'm hoping to see on my second watch. But my favorite Spider-Verse character is Spiders Man. I don't know if you've seen Spiders Man in the comic. He is a grouping of sentient spiders
Got bit by a radioactive human.
and form a giant person-sized Spider-Man, but they're like a hive mind and they like talk as one. They are Spiders Man, a Spider-Man
love a
made up
hive
of multiple
mind.
spiders. It's just so good. It's so
Genius.
dumb.
I love it.
It's so dumb.
Perfect. Yo, you keep talking about things that aren't things, and
Yeah.
I'm reminded of what this movie did narratively.
Yeah.
Like, and that I am thinking about the implications of it days later.
Oh, yeah.
Just suddenly just reminded of, oh, wait, if this is this,
Yeah.
then that's that. And now this means this.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody gets what I'm talking about, crossovers, multiverses, casting choices, you get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff in when we're like seeing the collection of spiders men, spiders people, spiders folk.
And
They're
various
obviously
rogues gallery.
like there are obvious cameos in this film. Like you knew that going in, right? Like that's the whole point. If you can show a bunch of Spider-Men, and like I don't want to spoil any of them, but some of them I really didn't see coming. Some of them made me really excited because they were related to other properties that like I didn't actually expect to see in there. It's really cool. I wanna talk about it more openly and publicly, but I think I want to wait. I just want to give it time. I'm seeing it again this Sunday because my spouse couldn't make the showing that I went with some friends last weekend, and so we're going together this weekend, and I'm excited to see it a second time. The only downside I would say to the entire film is a problem that's kind of been plaguing all of the showings. It's been written up a bunch of times. A lot of the showings, if not all of them, have audio issues. The early parts of the film, the mixing isn't super easily understandable. I think it could depend on the theater too. We had that problem at mine, and so like
when Gwen is talking at the start,
yeah,
I found that unintelligible. I thought
Yeah.
it was just me.
Nope.
I thought it was just me.
apparently there's a mixing issue. Also, sometimes when Hobby, aka Spider-Punk, is talking, like he's meant to be a little unintelligible. He's as a British punk, but it's really hard to understand. I haven't heard if there's been any response to it, but it's kind of a bummer. I'm seeing an open captioned showing this weekend, so I will hopefully be able to catch more of it. But it is a bummer
I love
that
the
the
open
mixing.
caption showings. I go to those on purpose just
yeah.
to make sure that they know.
Yeah,
And also, I like them.
yeah,
Yeah, I was so sad that when I was seeing it, there wasn't an open caption showing, but I did watch with the caption glasses, which I hate, but they're the only option. But yeah, my biggest problem with it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. The colors were so stylistic and the art was so fun. But I did have to bring sunglasses because I get photosensitive migraines, and luckily I was warned by lovely friends ahead of time that like I don't have a lot of problems with the first one at all, and they were like, it's much more bright and flashy and vibrant for the second one, so like prepare yourself, make sure you're in a good space for that. But yeah, it was just so gorgeous, and I got to see it with my nephew, my kid nephew, and
Oh,
so
nice.
seeing the film, like my takeaway from the story and the characters and the cameos, and then getting to see like a preteen perspective on the film was just so fun for me.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, and also I should shout out, like, I didn't think it'd be possible to have a better soundtrack than the first film, and yet it does. The second album has a unified producer in Metro Boomin who like mixed and produced the entire soundtrack this time through, and it's just incredible. Annihilate is one of, I think, the best songs of the year. I Am Dreaming is probably an all-timer by A$AP Rocky. It's like the first soundtrack was really good and really fit the film, but I think there's something next level about the mix of this soundtrack, and it having, like, especially dealing with the Spider-Verse in the way that they are, having a unified production on it, I think really kind of makes the music stand out even more. And the scoring also, like the music aside from the pop tracks and the needle drops was also really good. It was really good in the first film and really creates this world. I really can't, and like we know that this is part one of a two-part. Like it was always meant to be a trilogy. Lord and Miller wrote it that way. But I heard a lot, some people being like, "Oh, I hated how it ended," and like I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I was like, I don't know, it ended how I kind of expected it ends with a cliffhanger, right? Like that's not a spoiler. Mm-hmm. Like we know we're getting a part two. I'm glad that it's not Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 anymore. It's Across the Spider-Verse, and the third one will have another title, whatever that is, which I think is a better choice.
Spider-Verse or whatever.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's what it said at the end.
Oh, did it? Is that what it said?
Yeah, I think it said, spoiler, Miles Morales will return in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
But I'm really happy with, like, I've seen other movies knowing that they were split into two that felt way more incomplete. The Stupid Wizard movie, the Twilight movies, like all the ones that have done, like, we're gonna do two parts. The Mockingjay was also two parts. Like all of those young adult books that were split into two movies always felt kind of incomplete, and they were kind of cut in half just because of the length. They did
it for fashion more than function.
Right. This felt
because everybody was doing it.
This felt like a complete narrative with an intentional cliffhanger, which tons of comic book movies do and comic books do. So it kind of really felt authentic, and I can't wait for the next one. Like I'm so excited. I'm annoyed with however long we have to wait, whether it's a year, 2 years, it doesn't matter. Like I didn't think we could get better Spider-Man films than some of the ones we've been getting. And like after seeing No Way Home, I really that was such an incredible Spider-Man film as a Spider-Man fan of my age. I really didn't think Across the Spider-Verse could top it, and it did, absolutely 100%. Mm-hmm. These two animated films, I think, are still some of the best Spider-Man pieces ever made.
Yeah. Agreed. I will say to go back to the two-part nature of this, I do find assessing this film a little difficult without its second part. Like it doesn't feel finished, and I'm not mad that it's a cliffhanger, but like if that is an issue for folk, I think it's worth investigating, because while it doesn't dampen my experience, I still feel like because I have the conclusion of the first one, it's done, it's complete, and I can really understand what it's doing thematically, you know. I love an open / ambiguous ending. I think those are really fun for me, but it definitely doesn't feel resolved at the end of this movie, and a lot of people came away from it pushing back a little bit on that feeling of the unresolved nature of the story, which is so valid, but I really enjoyed it. Oh yeah, I loved it. I just can't wait to see how these themes that have been planted in this one bloom in the next one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a similar thing to the issue with Infinity War, right? Like Infinity War I've rewatched and is still a pretty good film, but I think without Endgame, it does feel quite incomplete. but watching them back to back feel like a complete arc, which was intentional, right? It was supposed to be a cliffhanger. And I think this does have a similar kind of feel. And I should say it didn't feel complete, but I felt satisfied with the ending in the sense that I knew it was going to be a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger was really satisfying to me. I don't think it's funny. I still don't know if I like it better than the New Guardians for different reasons, right? Like the New Guardians just was really important to me, and I really liked the story. I think this one's definitely more enjoyable across the board, just because while it deals with some hard themes, it's nothing like some of the stuff that we see in Guardians. But I'm an animation nerd, which is a huge help, and like I'm a big fan of comics and of music, and this kind of has the complete package. So I really loved it, and I can't wait for the third one, and I hope they stop there. As I understand it, it's a complete story. I think 3 is the end, and like they're not making any more of these. Of course, if it makes enough money, who knows? Miles may come back in something else. But as far as I'm concerned, I hope it is a complete trilogy, because we don't have enough of those in the comic book space. A lot of them are like, oh, we'll just keep going until it ends. And like we talked about when I talked about Guardians, like I like that Guardians for the most part is a 1, 2, 3 punch. Like you can watch those 3 movies and the holiday special and like be done, right? Feel complete, feel satisfied. And I'm hoping that this lands that as well, because so far it's been great.
Agreed. Well, Matt,
Yes.
if you had to sum up Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in simply 3 words, and you can't use any of the ones that I just said, it's a very long title.
It is.
How would you do it? How would you encapsulate this part 1 of a film masterpiece?
Feast for eyes.
Feast for eyes. I like it. I like that it's like kind of a sentence.
Yeah.
Like a cave person.
A
is
cave
like
Great
feast for eyes.
tagline.
Right.
Yeah.
Feast for eyes.
Feast for eyes.
I think my favorite thing also about this film was the new characters. I liked the characters in the first film. I think it's hilarious that one of the characters, because the voice actor had issues and was not really working, that he is absent from this film. Spider-Ham, I'm talking about Spider-Ham. He's not really in this film.
Right. I was
And,
like, wait,
which was
who's
no
the
secret to
problem?
anybody.
Any of them are problems.
Which wasn't a secret to anybody, but I think he was supposed to be in it a little bit. Like, he was never part of the main narrative, but I think he was supposed to be in it a little bit. But because of everything that happened, like, he took a back seat. But it does look like he'll be in the third film, so we'll see. But I thought that was kind of
forgot.
fun. Yeah,
I forgot.
it's fine.
I forgot he existed.
Yeah, it's fair. But yeah, I go see it. If you're even sliced bit curious and you enjoyed Spider-Verse, the first Spider-Verse, then you definitely got to see this one too.
Yeah. See it twice, actually, because
Yeah.
you'll want to.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
want to.
You'll
Make
wanna-
time to see it twice.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, now we're on
Yes.
to you, my friend. What is the most recent thing you have watched?
Fortunately for everyone, I'm not just bringing Spider-Verse as well, even though I did
Nice.
watch it.
Of
Also,
course.
obviously, I was chiming in all over the place. But the favorite show of the wrestlers I love dropped a season 3, so I'm back with more I Think You Should Leave.
Here it is.
Season 3.
Amazing.
Now, this is the first time I have watched this show knowing that a swath of indie wrestlers quote it on the regular. And now I'm an early adopter of the new quotes that the wrestlers are going to do. And
Oh,
that's
nice.
very fun
I
for me.
love that for you.
I love it for me too. I'm so I can't wait to just shout. I gotta figure out how to make money off of this. The idea is too good. For those of you who may just be tuning in on this one and have not heard me discuss, I Think You Should Leave, or other guests who have also brought this show, because I think it's pretty popular. It is a sketch comedy show by a comedian by the name Tim Robinson, and it is essentially taking very mundane circumstances that one would encounter in everyday life and sort of escalating them to a chaotic frenzy
Yeah.
in weirdly clever, absurdist ways. Like, there's nothing. I don't want to say like low art about it. Like everything is very well thought out, and it has a musical quality which does make it very, very quotable. But you know, if you have been on the internet at all, you've seen the gif of the guy in the hot dog suit going, "We're all trying to figure out who's done this."
Yeah, that's
You
been
know,
memed to death.
It's been memed to death
In the best way.
In the best, agreed, in the best way. And it's more of that. Yeah, each episode's 15 minutes. It's hard to talk about I Think You Should Leave without just getting into the sketches, and I don't want to
Right.
ruin the like fun of them, but I will say Tim Robinson in this season has adopted a hunch, just like a very purposeful, like low hunch, and I love it. I
For
love
no
this-
reason other than
I-
he wants to do it.
I think he looks funny when he does it, so he does it a lot.
Right.
And I also really appreciated how much more we got other people who are not Tim as sort of the leader of the sketch or the
Nice.
piece. You know, like I think this has been a very good like group situation. And to sort of tie it back to Spider-Verse, very good appearance by Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
A really
There you go.
and honestly that sketch very heartfelt in a weird I think you should leave kind of way. That just kind of like goes, "Oh yeah, we're all just people, aren't we?" And there's always like a little nugget of that pure goodness of humanity, even in the midst of sketches where someone's just trying to do the pay it forward scam in a drive-through. You know, like you'll find it there. I adore this sketch show. I will watch it on repeat. It's delicious.
I really need to see it, especially after Dave came on and talked about it. I mean, because I'd known that hot dog meme forever, just
Forever.
because it
Yeah.
just gets shared everywhere. I shared it everywhere, and I had seen one sketch out of context because a friend of the show, Jesse Vitelli.
What context? They just
it was just
I
he's
love
like
it.
you
Yeah,
have to
no, I
watch
get
this
you.
sketch,
Yeah.
and it was the car enthusiast sketch with the dad who has his son. He's like he wants to go for ice cream. He's like, oh, the ice cream shop,
Triples
yeah.
of the Barracuda.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
the ice cream store's closed, right, buddy? And it's like
She's very beautiful, but she's very sick.
It's just-
see, it's what you do.
yeah, it's
How you
it's-
experience.
It
these
does seem very
pieces.
quotable, but knowing that they're
endlessly
15 minutes,
quotable.
knowing that they're 15 minutes long makes me more inclined to watch it because I have limited time, and I also with that time choose to do other things like die constantly to the final boss of Tears of the Kingdom, which made me so angry this afternoon.
Oh, you're
It-
so far. I'm way back.
well, I just
jumped off the island.
I'm on a timeline. I need to play Final Fantasy 16. I want to play Final Fantasy 16 when it comes out, and so I'm trying to get through the main story. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with the game if I never beat the final boss because I'm so.
I
mad
never
about
beat the
it.
final boss of Breath of the Wild, but I did get all the shrines. So
There you go.
I
There
think
you
I
go.
You still
I-
beat the game.
Priorities.
that's completionist enough
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
You know.
But I so like one of the things that got me to watch the original Steven Universe was also that the episodes were short. And I was like, all right, I'll check it out. Next thing I know, I'd watched like 13 episodes in a row, and I was like,
Yep.
oh shit. And so like I can see myself doing the same with I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah, and even if there's like a sketch you don't like, don't worry, it'll be over soon enough. But I don't think I have a sketch where I'm like, I hate that. There's ones where I'm like, yeah, this one's kind of a miss for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. But as soon as it starts, it's like, oh, it's probably halfway done by the time I realize, oh, I don't like this one. But there's a lot of weird characters that I just simply adore. And there are a lot of wrestlers, real ones, who make cameos. The Hollywood Hunk is there.
Oh, really?
It's great. Yeah, no, my head coach was like, I counted like 5 wrestlers in the trailer alone. So very good. If you want to get a vibe of Tim Robinson's like whole shtick, he does do a character that is wrestling related who like just is cutting promos. I think it was part of Characters Welcome, I think is what it was called. I'll put it in the doobly-doo of the show notes. I'll make sure Matt gets it. Or if I don't, yell at me, internet, because I do a lot of things. But it's very much just like each promo he comes back, he's like, yeah, kicked my ass. It's great. So it's nice to see that like wrestling loves Tim Robinson and Tim Robinson loves wrestling back.
Right.
Also some like great cameos, not just Jason Schwartzman. Oh Oh my god, his name fell out of my brain. This is great podcasting. We're doing Fred Armisen.
Oh, sure.
Has a little moment.
What? Fred Armisen in a sketch show?
What? Who knew?
Who knew?
What could even happen? I will say that my favorite sketch is the Pacific Proposal Park one, and I won't tell you why. But if you're gonna watch one, go watch that one, and it'll instantly come to you, and you'll be like, yeah, that's why Rachel loves this one.
How many episodes are in a season?
6.
Oh, wow.
8?
That's like
Very
nothing.
few.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many. They
Not a lot.
all come to me in a binge. I don't count them. I just go another episode.
It's just
I
one
think it's
big
6.
episode.
I think it's 6.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think you should leave. Definitely check it out. Go watch all of it. Watch it again.
Do
Here
it.
we are.
Here we are telling you to watch it again only like a month later. Well, Rachel, if you had to sum up, I think you should leave season 3 specifically in just 3 words. What 3 words would you choose? And it can't be any of those words in that very long title either.
Yeah. Die, baby Duff.
I'm sorry, what was that last word?
Die, baby Duff.
Duff. Okay, D-U-F-F? Okay.
Do you have
Die, baby, Duff.
And
Okay.
you'll understand if you watch the show. And
Okay.
that's
There you go.
that is from the Pacific Park sketch. Though, so.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
assumed that. All right.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, now it's our guest turn.
Yeah.
Yay.
What is the most recent thing you have watched that you've brought to chat about?
Well, be very proud of me for not just spewing about sports. Because,
I did that last week. I was talking about pro wrestling.
which is very exciting. I've right now it's a lot of exciting things happening in sports for me personally. But outside of that, I have been watching White Collar for the first time ever. And so I
Amazing.
just finished season 2. So I've only seen like seasons 1 or 2 of White Collar so far. But I am having an absolute blast with this show. And it's been really hard for me to get into new shows lately for the past couple of years or so. I haven't been watching a lot of new things unless I'm doing it specifically for content. And this
Right.
is like one of the first shows that I've watched, not because I'm doing a podcast about it, I say, and then now I'm turning it into content. But
Sure.
it's fine.
It's fine. You didn't watch it
And-
with the intent of bringing
Yeah,
it on the show. You just
Exactly,
happened to bring it on the show.
exactly.
Are not asking you to do homework for our show. We're asking you to live your life and talk about that experience living your life. So
And that was so exciting for me because I feel like the only time I ever watch anything is as homework for content. And so this has been my like one show that I'm get to like hold close to me and not have any like critical thoughts about. It's like no thoughts, just vibes, which has
Yeah.
been really fun. It was pitched to me as like art heists, crime, etc., which is great. I love a heist. I love art heists specifically. I love like forgeries and fun, interesting. I would say the vibe of the show is much more procedural. It's not like a Leverage where it has like really intricate, detailed, like good heists, because that's not the focus of it.
Right.
They're good, they're fine, but that's it's much more about the like procedural FBI day-to-day, very New York feel to it, which has been really fun. I also went into this show with the understanding that some people do read 3 of the characters as in a triad, which has been really fun watching the show for the first time with no like knowledge of what the story and the characters to come are, and picking up on the very like specific details that really do sell this as like a poly couple.
That's
And
amazing.
so that's been really fun for me to just like have fun enjoying the absurd crimes that they present. It's very much like week to week crime of the week type of vibe. But the the character interactions are just so enjoyable. And I love a procedural. I'm a big fan of 911. I have a show where, like Thirsty Thursday, we talked about 911. And so, like, I'm very much into the style of predictable, easy watching kind of TV. So this has just been a really fun new show to add to that style, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. There was a series of shows, I don't know if there still are like new ones of this, but like the USA shows like Burn Notice, White Collar, Psych. Yeah, and like I'm doing a rewatch of Psych. I've kind of paused halfway through season 2, I think, or season 3. I think it's season 2, just because I got behind on it and then started watching other things. But like I loved Burn Notice. I watched that whole show. It broke my heart the last season. Everybody dies essentially, I think. I don't remember. But I think like,
ouch.
Yeah, like it's brutal, but it's really well done. But like, sorry, I spoiled like a 10-year-old show. But like, White Collar is on.
I was never gonna watch it. How dare you?
Right. But White Collar is one of those things that it's like I've heard a lot about, and I think I've watched a few episodes, but I've not actually like really taken it in. But it's fun. I like those kinds of shows too. Like I've been watching Leverage Redemption and all of that stuff, and so it's good to hear that this show also is in that vein.
Yeah. And like I said, I've been really enjoying it. There's one character who's like a main fixture throughout the first 2 seasons, as in they talk about this character all the time, but I don't particularly care about. And I don't buy that they're actually deceased, but that's a whole nother story. But just like the interactions between like the team and how they're telling stories around the different like crimes they're responding to, and that kind of stuff has been really fun. However, the last 2 episodes of season 2 felt like they were in their divorce era, and it was really upsetting to me personally. It was giving, if you've seen 911, like the lawsuit arc where 2 of your faves are like have interpersonal conflict with each other, and I'm told like by season 3 episode 2 they'll be in a better place and I'll be happier about life. So yeah, other than that, I've just been having such a blast with White Collar.
Yeah, I think I love cerebral shows. You got to think and like pay attention, and there's like really well artistically made. But like, I can't watch shows like The Last of Us forever, right? Like, I need a break from that kind of brain stuff, and so like being able to watch like a no thoughts, head empty, just kind of fun vibe show that then will also throw curveballs occasionally and still make you cry or like emotional or whatever, invested. Like I like that kind of stuff. And I watched Suits also for a while, but I never finished, which is another one of those kinds of shows. So it's good to hear that it sounds like White Collar mostly holds up, at least for what the purpose of you want it to be, is like this kind of just enjoyable show that you can watch.
Yeah, it keeps your brain warm. Like it kind of like warm.
Yeah.
Your brain's not hot. It's not. You're not watching Spider-Verse. It's not hot.
You're
it's
not
warm.
like overclocking the processors.
Exactly.
You're just cozy.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say, I think they did right, especially your main 2, in a way that they were trying to come across as like a paternal, like mentor-mentee type vibe, and that's absolutely not the subtext that comes across on screen. So I will say, if that was what they were going for, that doesn't hold up. It's just very flirty and romantic.
Love that. The gayer the better. That's what I always say.
Happy Pride. Make it gayer.
Exactly.
Explicit queerness, please.
Yes. No
This
subtext.
year,
Just
explicit
text.
queerness. Thank you.
Just text.
all caps text. Thank you.
Well, Sly, if you had to sum up White Collar in just 3 words, and you couldn't use those 2 words, even though it's a very short title, I'm still not going to repeat it. What 3 words would you use to describe this program? And just for context, it doesn't have to be a sentence. It can just be 3 descriptors. I tried to make a sentence and halfway through realized I didn't have enough words. And that's how we got Feast for Eyes.
So valid. I would go with art, crimes, triads.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Love that. Crimes. Triads.
Amazing.
Perfect.
And do you plan on watching the whole run of it?
Oh yeah, I've been told that the ending is very good.
Okay.
Like it's very solid.
And it's done, right?
ending,
The show is
conclusion.
done?
Yeah. It's been done for a while. And so that's nice getting to go into something knowing that it will be complete and resolved and not have a weird like it got canceled and moved to a new network and it has a weird last season type thing. It's just like one complete story to get into. So
Yeah.
very excited.
I've enjoyed my rewatches of The Good Place for the same reason, because it was the intent. It ended the way it ended. Still cry every time. And I'm looking forward to a future Ted Lasso watch. I did complete the last season. I watched the finale last week and loved it. I know some folks had complaints about the most recent season, but I really enjoyed it. I don't care that it's predictable. It's heartwarming. But, like, I like shows that, like, we were setting out to... This was like I was setting about Spider-Verse, right? Like, you knew you was going to end, and it hasn't ended. You could just go right into it. Well, you'll have to have you back to report on how if the ending really hits the mark.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be very excited to see when I get there.
Well, Sly, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you here. I adore you and Mario. I'm so glad we became friends when I went to PAX West last year. Sadly, I will not be attending this year. I'm not going to make it to Seattle this year. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the stuff you've worked on. You are one of the founding members of Point of Progress, and Mario talked a little bit about it here. But I'd love to get your perspective on it, because from what it sounds like Mario was saying, like, you guys started working on stuff together, and this thing just kind of happened during the pandemic. Like, it kind of, like, you had been making enough stuff, and you're like, hey, maybe we should do, like, this thing.
Mm-hmm. It all started with Among Us, funny enough. So
Some of the best stories begin this way. Let's go.
Yeah. During around September, October of 2020, we all happened to end up in Fee Zeranic's, her Discord, and we were playing Among Us all the time because that's all you could do in September of 2020. And I had just gone through, we had a really horrible wildfire where I was going to college. So, spending a lot of time with friends and a support network and hanging out, playing in Among Us. And the five of us basically would end up on these hours upon hours long Discord chats where we were talking about games and shows, and we watched multiple seasons of Hell's Kitchen together, and we're just having all of these really great conversations and talking about themes and ideas and perspectives on games that we weren't hearing a lot of other people in that space having the same takes, especially with, a couple of us in the gender minority, and we have like 0 cis white het men on our show. So like we were just wanting to see more people talking about games and games media from our lived experiences, and we're having these great conversations within the five of us, and we all were either doing content or wanted to do more content, and so we were throwing ideas together. Our name for Point in Progress is 2 references specifically. It is, at the time they were playing a lot of Dead by Daylight, and you would like pip up a level or whatever. And I was like, what the hell? Sorry, can I swear on this?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Cool,
Cool, great.
You can say whatever the hell you want. I
I
think
was
you
like,
should leave.
what the hell is a pip? And it stands for Point in Progress. And I was like, oh, that's a funny name. And then Fee is also a big Fallout person. And you have, the Pip Boy. And we're like, that's 2 like games adjacent references. So I got the Twitter account for it in like October, I think, and in November and December we did a bajillion test episodes. I think we did like 4 whole podcasts that will never see the light of day.
That's how it goes.
And we then launched on February 14th, 2021 as like our official, like, hey, we're Pip, we're doing podcasts with our main podcast. And that I think Mario mentioned, it's changed what it looks like, multiple iterations over the course. But yeah, it's been a couple years. We have over 70 episodes, and then that kind of launched my way into collecting podcasts like Pokemon, I guess. But yeah, that was like my first time doing regular content with a group of people.
It's amazing. And like you're doing so much now too. You're working on a ton of stuff. I discovered through your Twitter another thing that you're working on called We'll Throw the After Party, which is like a pop culture roundup thing. I watched the most recent live stream. It's so fun. The energy is so cool. You guys talk about the writer's strike, which is really important. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about what We'll Throw the After Party is and why that's maybe a little different from Point in Progress?
Yeah, it's a very, very different vibe, a very different take on a show. And as Mario mentioned in his episode, I had never seen any like I'd seen a couple, but I never really watched Marvel until WandaVision, and then I went through all of the things, and that's what inspired MC University, which we just wrapped up. Our finale was Across the Spider-Verse,
Of course.
which was very exciting for that to be our like final project for season 2 of MC University. But doing that, I ended up looking for more creators who are talking about Marvel, talking about the MCU from like marginalized race, culture, gender, and trying to cultivate specifically my TikTok feed to be those voices. And through that, I found just Alexis Blake, who was formerly Alexis Blake Reads Comics, and she was talking about, you know, growing up as a young woman, getting into comics in that space, and had great comic recommendations. And I followed her, and then she joined our founder, our host, our main producer, Liz, on Stark Radio for What If. And so it was a weekly live broadcast a la like Saturday night live type broadcast for YouTube show. And so Stark Radio started with Loki and then What If, and through What If brought in Marissa to talk about all things theater with Rogers the Musical and all that good stuff. And so Liz, Alexis, and Marissa kind of finished out What If, and I was talking a bit at the time on TikTok about Hawkeye and deaf representation and what it means to be late deaf and my experiences and what we want from representation. And so I was invited to join the show to kind of be like the deaf culture representation for talking about Hawkeye. And we had a great time with that, chatting every week, and the four of us just became such good friends that it didn't really feel like we weren't hanging out for the content. We were hanging out because we all loved each other so dearly. And then we just like took a step back and really talked about what do we want to get out of this show and what do we want to present to our audience. And we all collectively kind of wanted to take a step back from just being like the Marvel, the MCU kind of show, and talk more broadly about culture and pop culture breakdowns and social media and like comms, media analysis. 3 of us are communication majors with very different fields of concentrations. So we all have like a similar foundation, but completely different aspects of what we look at when breaking down media in general. And so we launched We'll Throw the After Party, which is a One Direction lyric, which I didn't know. This came to Liz in like a shower brain blast rebrand. It's a running joke that Liz tries to rebrand the show every couple of months. But this one stuck, and yeah, so now we're like a weekly live pop culture analysis breakdown type show.
Love that. So cool. So you're not busy at all. You have a ton of free time.
Wow, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Before retiring MC University, I did 4 total shows, and 3 of them were weekly and live.
Ooh,
Wow.
boy.
That's a lot. Did you ever think you'd be working on this many podcasts or and live events and live shows? Like, was this even like something you were?
Not.
Did you like have any interest in this beforehand, or did you kind of just stumble into it?
I love podcasts. I love. I'm not a podcast purist, obviously, because I'm deaf. I do enjoy a video podcast.
Sure.
So live streams are also my jam. I really love audio dramas, but that's a whole nother conversation we can get into at a later point. But I really enjoyed content creation. However, from a more back end side, I was only ever like a quote unquote personality, because if you want to make things by yourself, you kind of have to be.
Right.
And then I started a podcast and made friends and discovered that the best way to make friends is forcing them to do a show with you.
Yep.
And then as I made more friends, I made more shows. But yeah, I took a studio broadcast class really early on in my college career and absolutely fell in love with studio production, like live news TV, like hitting the buttons, being the technical director, doing all that stuff. I really enjoy that. So I had the background in how to make a thing. But yeah, I never really intended on being such a front-facing portion of, so many shows, if that makes sense.
And so now that MC University, at least for now, is taking a break since you finished the season, you're totally not going to fill that space with more work, right? You're going to take it easy, you're going to relax.
Absolutely not. I have totally not been fishing for people to start a general sports podcast with me at all. That's
Not
totally
at all.
not a
Why
thing
would you
that
do that?
happened.
No, why
Hit
would
up
you
my
do that?
Twitter DMs.
I'm curious because since all of the shows that you work on are either video game or pop culture or like TV, movie related, do you find it overwhelming to like, you made an offhand comment before about like consuming things to make content with. Does that feel like a lot sometimes to like only consume specifically to then turn it into content?
Yeah, it does. I will often feel like I just kind of want to laze about today, but we do have it on the schedule that we are talking about insert show or movie here. So I do have to sit down and take notes and, figure out what conversation themes I want to bring up with that. But on the same hand, it has been really great about forcing me to actually enjoy things that I know I will like, but have never had like something forcing me to start it, to get like its claws into me. And so there's so many things that I've like always wanted to watch or always wanted to play, and I just never got around to. And now that I'm obligated to talk about things on multiple different shows every week, that I feel like I have to bring fresh content, right? And so I'll be like, oh, I guess I'll dive into this old game that I've always wanted to play, and just it completely passed me by. Or, oh, sure, I'll watch the Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Disney Junior show, which is gorgeous.
Great.
If you haven't seen it, absolutely check it out. But yeah, it goes hand in hand.
Rachel, you were nodding along a little bit like you maybe can relate a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, just the Saturday, it's my day off with my partner Fear, and then going, fuck, I gotta go to the movie. Fuck, I gotta go see this movie. I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow. Ugh. Woo. Sometimes
I feel you there.
it's just nice to be like, I'm gonna watch this because I want to watch this on my own schedule, in my own time.
And for me, luckily, a lot of what I'm consuming on my own time has been fan fiction. I've been huge into fandom for way too long. I was way too young with unrestricted internet access, as you do, and so fandom has always been a big part of my life. But I fell off of fan fiction for a couple of years there, especially like early years of college, and I got back into that more once I started creating shows as something that was like just for me, and of course I then turned it into content later, but it has become like my brand is like the fan fiction person, which is really funny because on Mario's episode, you did make the fatal mistake of asking me a question about fan fiction, which I will now take the time to answer.
Yes.
Oh my
yes,
God, please
yes,
do.
yes, yes, yeah, I was
and
hoping we
so-
were gonna get into this. Yes.
Absolutely. You made an offhanded comment of, I wonder if there's a fic for that. And so I did take a deep dive into the recesses of Archive of Our Own. And so if you did not know, under the general like parent tag of the fandom category for professional wrestling, there is almost 22,000 fanfics.
Of course there is.
And so
Of course there is.
there is that includes like a bunch of different like fandom tags of different types of professional wrestling. I don't know anything about wrestling, so this is me learning through fan fiction, which is my preferred method of learning about anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's almost 22,000 professional wrestling fics.
Yeah.
And AO3 has a really fun tag system and search system, and there's a lot of different ways you can find information.
Yep.
So you did ask about one person name in particular, and so I did the search within results, and that will pop up like any time it's a name or a phrase or whatever is even offhandedly mentioned in a fic, and that returned 27 fanfics. However, Logan Black does have a character
You
tag,
can't. That's my coach. You can't.
and there's one. There's one.
Can't.
You asked.
Through.
That's all I'll tell
Yeah,
you. There's
no, I had-
There's one fanfic.
Oh,
and
God,
that is it.
I can't.
Under the character
It's
tag.
for those who do need to be in on this. I threw my headphones off because I was not prepared for the Ark of the Covenant's opening. I'm closing my God. I'm wrapping them, just like getting my eyes closed so God doesn't melt my face. I'm surprised there's not more.
I will give you no other identifiable
cool, it's
information,
cool, it's
but
cool.
there is a single one. And I was like, oh my
jeez.
God.
I'm
If it makes you
not
feel
allowed to know
better,
this.
there is a person within the fan community of Kinda Funny who is like a friend of a lot of my friends, who I was horrified to find out is featured in the top 100 ship tags. Not once, but like 3 times.
Wow.
So I did have to create a specific AO3 site skin, so I will never see them in any fanfic ever that I'm searching for. Thank goodness that you can do that now.
blessings for that, because I have to go block so many names just in case I ever like want to dive into fic.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you ever are diving into the recesses of Archive of Our Own and know anybody in any sort of vaguely public facing place, make sure to protect your sanity, and like there are tools to do that. Use the exclude function. We love excluding all of the tags that we do not want to see ever.
Amazing. Oh man.
So that's been my hostile fanfiction
I'm so
takeover of your
glad.
show.
Thanks
for having
Thank
me.
you.
I'm so glad.
Thank you. Are you kidding? You
No.
answered my questions and answered a question from a previous episode that we don't even remember, but
Yeah,
now we remember.
oh boy, boy, do I have regrets.
But
It's
this was
okay. It's only fair. You know what? It's only fair.
You did ask the question, Rachel, so you know.
I did, but
You didn't want an
I
answer.
didn't want.
But at what cost?
At what cost?
Everything.
Everything. I'm Thanos now.
You are
great
Thanos
stuff.
now.
Great stuff.
Amazing. Well, Sly, thank you for joining
so
us. This was a
much.
delight. This was wonderful.
Thank you
fine.
for having me.
Oh
Oh
my
my gosh, this has been. I've gotten to do a couple really cool guest spots, but this has been the one I've laughed the hardest during. So
Yes.
thank you for having me.
Yes.
This has been an absolute blast.
Hey, we're not here for media criticism. We're here for bits.
Bits. It's all bits.
It's all bits.
We love
The
committing
bits,
Content
to
is
a
the
bit.
bits,
subterfuge for the
bits. Before we wrap up the show and ask you a final question, Sly, I would love for you to tell folks where they can find you online now that you're back from hiatus, and some of the stuff that you're doing and where they can find that as well.
Yeah, for sure. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet at clyclone MC to find links to all of the bajillion other things I do. You can find MC University on the Point in Progress YouTube and also most podcast feeds, and that is season 1 and 2. So we went from Blade 1 to Across the Spider-Verse, covering all of the non-MCU Marvel movies, and it's now a finished product, which is so exciting.
Until they make more.
You can catch me
Hey.
on TikTok live every Thursday, talking about 911 and 911 Lone Star. However, during hiatus, I think we're going to deep dive into the Shadowhunters canon. So, stay tuned for that. We'll see. We always have a fun time during the summer doing just whatever comes to us on a whim. You can, of course, catch me on the main Point in Progress podcast, which records live every Wednesday, ? And then you can, of course, find me on We'll Throw the After Party, which is live every Saturday night, and that's at After Party SHO on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Amazing.
Wow, so many
Wow.
plugs.
So many plugs.
Yeah. I
So
love it.
busy.
I love it.
Love it.
I love a good lot of plugs. Also, it was so easy to follow you, Sly. I did it while you were plugging.
There you go.
We
See?
love to see
That's
it.
simple. We love to see it.
So
Super
easy to
simple.
do, listeners. Every time. This is how I
Every time.
how I chastise them by
Yeah.
waiting
By
until
doing
you're
this.
here to follow
And then
you,
do it.
and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
We can do
boom,
the thing.
click
Anything
button.
for a bit, right?
Anything, everything for a bit.
For a bit. Sly, we're going to ask you the final question in a minute, but first, Rachel, we should probably thank some folks.
Yes, many, many thanks to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble.
Also, thank you to the incredible Katie Bug, who
Yes.
designed our awesome
Yes,
show logo.
exactly.
Thank you so much. We love that
Perfection.
logo. A little cartoon
Yes.
selves. Also, thank you to
Yes.
Case Aiken,
No! Wrong.
who designs our individual
Never.
episode art that you see on most podcast platforms.
No way. No way.
We're going to thank him.
It's still got the radioactive picture of me up as the show
every
art.
5 episodes it changes.
5 is too many
Too
for
many.
that radioactive look. It's a punishment that
It's a
I
punishment.
have this picture of me having a very good time with my friends under a black light. I'm infuriated.
So mad.
So
mad.
Why not you
Damn
take your
it,
anger
Case.
out? Why don't you take your anger out on thanking our podcast network?
Yes, thank you so much to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for continuing to allow us to participate in this community. If you would like to participate in the community or in any shows besides ours, you can go over to certainpov.com, check out everything that's over there, links to our Discord server on the page, come hang out, yell at me about anything. I don't care. Just yell at
Maybe
me.
birds.
At me. Birds. Yell
Birds
yell
always.
at me about a bird.
There
you
go.
gently whispered to.
There you go. Exactly.
If you
It
need
all
to put your
comes
yelling
together.
somewhere, because we're not yelling at the birds anymore, we're gently whispering to them.
Right. Until
We're
it's something.
Until I
enthusiastically
forgot.
whispering.
Yeah.
Enthusiastically
A
whispering.
good,
Yes, I like that.
hearty stage whisper at a bird.
There you go.
Also, you can rate and review us on your podcast
Mm-hmm.
platform of choice, especially Apple Podcasts, and rating us on Spotify is really helpful.
Yes.
The links to our Discord server, as well as rating and reviewing, are all in the show notes down below. You can also send us an email at screensnarkpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
You can reach out to us on Twitter at @screen_snark. We love hearing from y'all. Keep tweeting at us. Thank you to previous guests, Joe Mastrapiro, for shouting us out very recently about listening to the show. Always fun when a guest listens. You know, you could just show up and like listen before and then never listen again, and I totally get it. I've done that with tons of shows I've guested on because I have limited time. But we're always grateful for every listener we have. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to shut up so Rachel can ask our guest our final question.
Oh, there's a great buildup. I was like, oh, what? I got excited. What are we doing? Oh no, I've forgotten. I did a little, just a little bit, just enough, just the right amount to make it exciting. Sly, I am so interested to know if you could choose any one trope that has been used in film and television to instantly and magically become true in your life. Which trope would you choose?
I hear your question, and I am going to maybe not answer it because I don't know if this is actually a TV trope at all. But my favorite fan fiction trope of all time is the friends to fiancés trope.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect.
If anybody's
perfect.
okay, if anybody's ever talked to me about fan fiction, they know I love a friends to fiancés, especially because it basically happened to me in real life. My partner in life, love, and podcasting, Alexis, we did in the after party besties group chat, I did propose out of spite, and now we are inseparable because our other two co-hosts were acting particularly like married, and so and you know, it just changed my life for the better. So here we are.
I love that.
You love to see it.
This is the idea of like, marry me. I dare you to say no. I will not say no. I will absolutely say yes. We are going to get married. It's very community.
Anything for the bit.
Anything for the bit.
Everything for the bit.
For the bit. Well, thank you. That answer was great. Thank you again, Sly, for joining us. This was wonderful. Please go check out all the cool stuff that Sly is doing. We'll have to have Sly back at the end of White Collar just to see if it holds up.
Yeah.
But for now, let's wrap on this episode. I want to thank my incredible co-host, the one and only, the brilliant, the talented, the pink-haired, the not wearing wet rollers this week.
Yeah.
Rachel
No wet set
Quirky-Shank.
required this time. Okay. And I would like...
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I would very much like to thank my Die Baby Duff co-host, Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
I don't even know what that means. What does it mean?
Incredible.
It's
You gotta watch the sketch.
I gotta watch the sketch. And of course, we want to thank our incredible listeners. We would not have a show without you. Thank you for being here. We'll see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
We've made difficult decisions.
And there are still more ahead of us.
2 people aren't enough to save the galaxy.
We need the toughest,
Smartest.
deadliest allies.
We need you.
We need you to join us.
And listen to Reignite.
A certain point of view podcast about storytelling
Love.
and Mass Effect.
Join us every other Thursday as we fight for the fate of an entire galaxy.
You can find us everywhere you get your podcasts.
Or at certainpov.com/reignite.
We're counting on you.
We should go.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.